What's going on, y'all? It's that boy Walt, and I told you I'll be back with longer content. This is a lot longer than normal, and the whole reason I'm giving you a longer video is to show you how to win a kickboxing fight, whether it's amateur or professional. I'll be going over two videos, fighting two guys. One guy, this first guy I'm showing, I beat him a long time ago when I was a kid, and then I ended up beating him again a few years later. You know, he was a champion down in Florida, and so I ended up fighting him again. He literally got into this tournament literally because he was like, I want to see if I can beat him. And he couldn't beat me, but he was still a game opponent. But anyway, so this is how you score in kickboxing. As you can see, we're testing each other and stuff. I'm currently outscoring him with my kicks and stuff like that, really just kind of filling them out. Even though you only have 3 rounds, it's really good to fill your opponents out with strikes that you know you can get away with, like jabs and low kicks that cannot put you in any type of danger, right? And so that's what I've been doing pretty much this whole time. Threw a little body kick there, a little low blow and stuff, but it's all good, wasn't too hard. But basically just to fill out round, you know, we're just trying to collect our points. You know what I'm saying? It's really important in kickboxing if you don't score the knockout. It's collecting points and make sure you're collecting points that aren't being scored back on you. So as you can see, I'm scoring points, and even if I get hit, I'm trying to hit them back to make sure that I'm still the higher scorer, because how kickboxing works is who's ever scoring the most points is going to be the one who's winning, unless of course it's a TKO or a KO or an injury of some sort. So as you can see, anytime he kicks me, I'm answering. That's how kickboxing works. That's the difference between that and Muay Thai. Is like it's fast paced, start to finish. You know what I mean? And the highest scoring strikes are low kicks, combinations, and of course like clean strikes to where you hurt somebody, knocking them down or whatever the case might be. Right, and so in this fight, that's the whole tactic I work in. I knew he was a game opponent because, like I said, I fought him before a few years back. And so I'm taking him serious, but at the same time, I'm not giving him too much ground to where he think he can score as many points as he wants. You know what I'm saying? So like in this fight, I really made sure I let him know like, hey, I'm in here and I'm going to be scoring more than you're scoring on me. And as you can see, I'm definitely scoring a lot more points than he's scoring, and that was the whole point. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really too much worried about the knockout simply because we got headgear on, so there wasn't any reason. Right there, beautiful scoring right there. Anytime he kicked, I'm kicking him back, just to let him know like, hey, I'm going to be scoring more points than you. I'm not going to let you finish, because you let a person finish, they are the one who won the exchange, no matter if your strikes even looked harder. So as you see, I'm always finishing and then I'm getting out. That's how you win in K1 scoring. Any kickboxing fight, they're going to be looking for who's starting the combinations and who's finishing the combinations. So I'm making sure I'm first and last. So anytime you're in kickboxing training and kickboxing sparring, make sure you're first and make sure you're last. Or if you're not first, make sure you are most definitely last, right? So you can be on the back foot in kickboxing. You can make sure you're being evasive and stuff, but you have to also make sure you're scoring. Scoring criteria is very, very important. You have to make sure you're scoring. In K1 fights, you only have 3 to 5 rounds, so you don't have a lot of time to work. It doesn't mean you necessarily have to rush and make mistakes, you know what I'm saying, or take any unnecessary chances, but you definitely have to make sure you're the dominator and the aggressor. You know, it's not like boxing where you got 12 rounds. You have a lot of time on your hands to kind of figure a person out. You have to make sure you figure them out from the beginning to where you can either get the finish or you can make sure you win dominantly and get a UD, right? Because it's easy to have a split decision scenario in kickboxing, because you only got 3 rounds, and if it's close, like you both are scoring on each other, then the judges are just going to make it split, and whoever they feel like was most effective. And a lot of times the judges are barely fighters in the past themselves, so they're just like, all right, well, he looked like he was doing more, and he might have not have been, but you know, that's just kind of how it goes with the scoring. So you have to make sure you're really taking advantage and really outscoring your opponent. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I've been doing. Anytime he hits me, I'm making sure I'm scoring double, triple, quadruple the points that he's scoring, to make sure there's no question that I'm clearly the winner. You know what I'm saying? This is the last round right here. I really start styling and schooling him. You know what I'm saying? A lot of good kicks, a lot of good punches. The overhand really started to come through for me. And another criteria in kickboxing that's really big is the damage of the shot. I had him leaking out his nose and his mouth from those overhands, and that's another big indicator to the judges that you are the one who is winning the fight. You know what I mean? I've seen guys win, bleeding and stuff like that, but normally they probably knock their opponent down or things like that. But if you're bleeding in the fight, you know what I mean, or you're bruised up in the fight, you're definitely probably on the downside in the judge's eyes. You know what I mean? So keep that in mind as well. You want to make sure you have good defense and stay protected as much as you can while you're in this high-paced fight. And so This third round, I pretty much have his timing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not too much worried about anything he's throwing because I already know what he's going to do. And so now I'm not even really worried about the scoring criteria. I'm trying to see if I can get a finish, or I'm trying to see if I can score style points on him. But like I said, he's really, really tough. And so he wasn't going out. But at the same time, I was able to school him a little bit, show him a couple things, throw a little spinning techniques and style on him a little bit and just have a little fun in there. You know what I mean? And you having fun in there and showing the judges that, like, hey, man, this is easy work. Another thing in the scoring criteria that's going to make sure you're up and make sure that you're definitely look like you're winning in front of the judges' eyes. So, once again, remember, the key things to winning a kickboxing fight is always going first, always finishing last, and making sure you're scoring the most damaging strikes anytime you're in a kickboxing fight. That's how you know for sure that it's going to be a unanimous decision. Boom. Beautiful pull counter. Just really just taking my time, having fun, and just seeing everything that he's throwing. Definitely one of my favorite fights of all time, simply because we were both high level. Speaking of high level fights, this is another high level opponent that I fought actually last year. You know what I'm saying? And really good guy. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely more of a counter striker, which worked in my favor because I'm a pressure fighter. And he was a 3-time Waco champion. This was my first time fighting under the Waco rules, and we were both going at it. But as time went on, like, I was clearly outscoring him. And Waco scoring criteria is actually a lot stricter than IKF or ISK or any other kickboxing organization, simply because they're really like big on low kicks. They're really big on like clean scoring criteria. They want to make sure everything is tit for tat perfect. You know what I'm saying? Because they're the only organization recognized by the Olympics for kickboxing, right? And so, like, this guy was clearly, like, the favorite in the crowd and stuff like that. Everybody thought he was going to probably, like, watch me or walk over me or outscore me. But, like, he wasn't really doing anything that I haven't seen before. But he was sharp. I'll give him that. But in the first round, as you can see, I'm trying to score my low kicks, you know what I'm saying, and make sure that I'm clearly the one who's winning the fight, and I'm clearly a lot faster than him with the kicks. And unfortunately for him, he didn't really catch on to the fact that was my game plan. Fortunately for me, he did it, and I was able to really collect a lot of points on him. A lot of inside low kicks, a lot of outside low kicks to make sure that I'm clearly the winner. But as you can see, he's very sharp in his boxing, very good hands from him, very good boxing technique. I think he had some amateur boxing experience and stuff, but you know, I was also very, very technical with the kicks and the punches. So we were a well-matched fight, but I was a lot stronger, you know what I'm saying, and just a lot more tenacious with my striking combinations and stuff, and the judges saw that. You know, we were definitely evenly matched when it came to techniques and stuff like that, but I was just a lot more aggressive, and I was the clear winner when it came to who was scoring more. And he started resorting to a lot of spin kicks that weren't really landing. Guys, if your high-level techniques aren't landing, you should abandon them and stick with the basics. That's also another big thing, because even though high-level techniques look good, they score the same as a regular punch or a kick. So keep that in mind. The high-level techniques don't score higher than a regular jab, cross, hook. So if you're not landing that, just work on your jab, work on your cross. And I think that was something that he was really relying on, and it wasn't really helping him in this fight. You know what I'm saying? But I'm keeping the pressure on him, and I'm making sure that he's not really getting any time to breathe. He's still doing really well right now, making sure he's countering and stuff like that, but he's not really doing anything about those low kicks. And the low kicks is why I felt like I got the unanimous decision and it was outscoring him. You know what I mean? And so I just want to once again remind you guys that low kicks are very, very important in K1. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you start it and you finish it. So he's letting me score all these low kicks. Really good boxing, you know what I'm saying? He's countering me really well at times. But the low kicks and the overall just combinations, he's not doing very well on answering me on that. And the judges see that. You know what I'm saying? They see everything in terms of who's scoring, you know what I'm saying, and who's scoring first, who's scoring last. So you got to make sure you're in control as much as you can. And as I started wearing them down, this is round 2, as I started wearing them down, like, it got so evident to the point that I was in control that, you know, they had to give me the decision even though he was the favorite. So once again, he went back to that spin kick. I had blocked it and, you know what I'm saying, was able to score my whole little knee, stuff like that. Just really, once again, I got his game plan down. He's going to spin when he's in trouble. I know that. So when I was in the ring, I knew he had sharp boxing. I knew he was going to spin when he was in trouble. But I knew he didn't like my pressure. So I started smiling at him, you know what I'm saying, and started walking him down. I'm about to score like a 10-punch combination. I thought they were going to give him an 8 count, but they did it. You know what I'm saying? And which was surprising, but whatever. It was all good. It was still looked good in the judges' eyes, and once again, a lot of points scored on them. I was actually extremely gassed out for this fight in terms of energy because I had to cut twice for this. He didn't have to cut twice. He was chilling, walking around, eating food and stuff. I saw that shit, so I was like, hey man, I gotta take it to him for all the pain I suffered cutting weight for this fight, and that's exactly what I did. This round, very uneven. The first 2 rounds, except for the last little bit of this second round, I was definitely neck and neck with him, and we were both going back and forth. But this round, I was on. You know what I'm saying? It was clear who was the winner in this. I was scoring first. I was scoring last. I was scoring the cleaner techniques. Like, everything I was doing was working. My punches are landing better than his. You know what I'm saying? At first, we were even with the boxing, and now, like, I'm just taking over. You know what I'm saying? Once I said about those low kicks, he's letting me score all the low kicks. The inside, outside low kicks, those are adding up, especially in the judges' eyes. I'm just really just kind of schooling him at this point. So, 3-time Waco champion, and, he's getting schooled in his own fight style. You know what I mean? And you can't really in Waco throw knees like you could in an ordinary K1 fight because they're really big on just kind of like the punches and kicks and stuff. You can throw knees, but not like how you gonna do in like an ordinary K1 fight. Unless you're like fighting Waco World where you can knee to the head. We weren't able to knee to the head. And, that really messed up my game plan in a lot of ways. I definitely wanted to because I feel like that would have definitely got the TKO in, but it was cool. I was still outscoring him with the punches and, the combinations, but I had it on lock, man. It was really easy work, like from the time on, from round 2 and on. So once again, to wrap this video on up because we're coming towards the end, I'm really big on fighting high-level guys, and so it was good to fight these 2 good fighters, and school them and beat them. But the main things to be able to do that, you got to remember, be first, be last, and be aggressive, and be clean with your strikes if you want to win a kickboxing fight. You have to remember that scoring criteria. Be first, be last, and be clean. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. That's all I got for you today. This is how to win a kickboxing fight.